when you're married to this person, you gotta wake up to them every day, kiss them. After you fast, pray, and all this stuff, you have to be attracted. That's just the bottom line. There's a lot of people who's praying, doing ministry, doing purpose, but do not like each other. Right. This is very common.
Greetings and welcome to our Fuel Station podcast. Tonight we're going to talk about a few different things as we just finished our Step to a Transformational Prayer Life series. So tonight we want to share some encouragement with our singles. I do not qualify. So we have our members Keita and Jerome here who are going to just share some of their experiences, share their life with you as it pertains to prayer in their singleness, and as we're coming off of the Steps to a Transformational Prayer Life series. So let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it.
So, Steps to a Transformational Prayer Life. We covered 10 different steps in there. So for starters, just what did this series do for you?
It opened up a whole new way I view prayer now. Mm-hmm. I feel like it showed me to pray correctly. But it also showed me what was really in my heart when I'm praying, and like different steps and things that, because sometimes you think you're doing something right and you're just not. And then you kind of just you making it more about you instead of like what's actually pleasing to God. And sometimes, and it's okay if some things is about you, but it's like a certain way you do it. I just feel like this opened up another way of how to pray. That's what I think it did for me.
Okay. Keita? What you got?
Honestly, it has also just helped to increase your prayer life and the way you pray, basically. As far as singleness wise, it helped me to get bold in my prayers and not being scared of what to ask for. And yeah, so.
Okay, so two things that came up from both of y'all talking. Mm-hmm. Keita, you brought up boldness. We're going to touch on that in a moment. And Jerome, you brought up pray the right way. Okay. So, ladies first. When you talk about boldness, okay, switch to Jerome. When you talk about pray the right way, elaborate on that a little bit more, especially when it pertains to being single.
So relationship wise, being single, the old way I would pray would be, I would pray more about getting just my needs met. So, okay, she got to be this, she got to be this, she got to be this. Instead of God, you send me somebody that you see fit for me. That's kind of one of the hugest things for me, because I will always just be like, long as she look good, long as she thick, whatever it is, I'm like, that's all I really care about. But now I'm just like, show me her heart, God. Give me the wisdom to better see her for who she is. She can see me. And even when I'm praying my singleness, I'm thinking now, am I correct? Am I all together? If this woman does come into my life, am I ready to receive? Because we always got our hand out, but we're not really ready to receive. So that's something that was really big for me. So.
Okay. You want me to elaborate on boldness, right?
And if you got more, just
she about to go in.
When I speak of boldness, I literally just mean what I'm asking for. So a lot of the times, how we pray for certain things in our life that we want, like a business and we know exactly what it is that we want in that business. We want to do makeup. We want bring people to me that's going to do makeup. But when it comes to relationships, I feel like we get scared, especially if we meet someone or something in that area, and we get scared to be like, God, I like this person. This person is very I can see it, and you tell God that this is something that you would, like, or whatever the case may be. And just being bold, coming to him with that, because a lot of people won't. They'll just say, God, I want a husband, or God, I want a wife, and they won't specify it, and they won't even tell God if they met somebody and if they like them or whatever. They'll kind of just I can't even explain what it's going dead. I'm sorry.
Well, I will say this. If you delight yourself in him, he give you desires of your heart. And that's something I keep inside of my mind all the time, is I'm always thinking about, like, it's so to touch on to what she said, when you praying, that boldness come out, like, I am deserving of these good things. You don't have to feel like you're not, like they got to be basic. If you want your wife or husband to look good, say that. You don't, whatever God want. Yeah, okay. But hey, be careful with saying that. Put your desires out, make your requests be known. Right. I think sometimes we just be afraid because we think there's a right way of every little thing. And I'm like, sometimes what you like is what you like. Stand on that. If this is what you like, it's what you like. That's what it is. So I think you want somebody who looks sexy, say that. Be real with it. Because when you're married to this person, you got to wake up to them every day, kiss them. After you fast, pray, and all this stuff, you have to be attracted. That's just the bottom line. Yeah. There's a lot of people who's praying, doing ministry, doing purpose, but do not like each other. Right. This is very common. Right. But everything is, make sure it's purpose. Make sure. And this is all good things. I am not going against that. But we have to be realistic. When no one's around, you laying in that bed, I'm going to just leave it at that. And when they want to touch you and you don't want to touch them, I'm just going to leave it at that.
And also just like questioning, I think he said something about it today, about certain people being sent to you as a distraction or whatever the case may be. So even like just praying about who comes into your life, like, why is this person here? What is this? So even that, because it's so easy for the enemy just to send somebody your way, especially when you're in a vulnerable state or when you're in this waiting phase and you want it so bad or whatever the case may be, it makes it so easy for the enemy to creep in, like, here goes somebody. And then you're like, you just automatically, you don't see what's behind them. You kind of are blinded by the flutter, by the, everything above. And that's just when he comes in and he makes his moves and he attacks. And then you try to wonder why you're still in the same cycle. And it's because you just accepted the same thing inside of your circle instead of going to God, praying about it. Should they be here? Like,
right. What's their motives why they're here? Right. Show me what's their intent with you. Because a lot of people just come because you're a good person. And they see that and they be like, I'm gonna take advantage of this. But but they'll come talking scriptures, all this thing. You like, man, they good. And all of a sudden y'all life match, everything is good. But then when you get around and you feel uneasy, that's the Holy Spirit talking to you. Yeah. But staying connected in prayer is key. And knowing, and once he tell you, I know it's gonna be hard to hear, but like take it and be like, okay, God is not gonna lie to me. Because the person sometimes may say, why you feel this way? Or why you, don't worry about that. If you connected to God, this is God telling you, these be signs. But we always saying the devil working. He's not. Sometimes he's not always working. God be showing you like, hey, cut that off. Yeah. Stop dealing with this person. But I like them. This could be family. This could be anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's right there. You just got to pay attention.
Well, one thing from the series that jumps out to me, and I think this can add into it, is when we were covering Solomon and a prayer that's pleasing to God. So as a single person, there are a lot of young believers out there who do pray, but often they ask for the wrong things that is not pleasing to God. So what would you say about praying prayers that are pleasing to God and as it relates to your singleness?
It's how you pray. Like it's what you're asking for. Like, are you putting what you're praying for above him? Like, do you want it more than him? Like, what is your motive behind it?
Right, it's a motive.
Yeah, it's like, what is your motive behind you praying? Like, even me, I used to pray back then and just like, God, just give me a man, because I wanted it so bad. I didn't even care who he sent. Like, just send somebody. Like, I
somebody. Come on.
I don't care what. I don't really care. Just send somebody, like, just because I'm in that state of like boredness and loneliness. So I'm just like, just send anybody, But just understanding that God knows exactly like not I won't say just who he has for you, but the type of person that he has for you. Yeah, because I'm just someone who I don't believe in like the one, like it's just one. I believe more so as there's somebody that has everything that God has in them for you. So that's that. So yeah.
I mean, she answered it pretty much, so
Go
I
ahead,
ain't got
put that
that on
Jerome
this.
spin on it. Go
I
ahead.
ain't got that on this. Nah, I think she really said everything that was supposed to be said. To be real, I think she did because it's very self-explanatory. I don't have nothing for that. She did that.
So then the next question I will have then is when it comes to intercessory prayer,
Okay.
how would you use that in your single state in preparation for your relationship that's coming?
I gotta think on this one. I'm gonna think on this.
Okay. Well, I actually experienced that, right? So like I think I talked about this before, but like I have this bag, right? And in the bag it has like socks that says Bride to Be, all this other stuff, rings, all type of stuff. It's just a faith type thing for me. But inside of that, I have an intercessory prayer for like whoever my husband would be. Like there's literally an intercessory prayer because I feel like you should start not praying for the person, not when you get that person, but before you get that person. You're kind of like covering your marriage before it even comes. Like you're staying prepared. The person that stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So I feel like it's very important to pray for your husband, pray for your future children, pray for your future family, pray for certain things. And because the enemy could be, attacking them in certain different ways, or there could be people coming his way that's not for him and getting them distracted or her distracted or whatever the case may be, just to help keep her or him on the right path or whatever the case may be. So yeah.
I would say, as you continue to pray for this person, even when you don't see them, you also, in your prayer time, you also asking God, like, what do I need to be ready for when this comes? So I feel like you're practicing already what it would be like, because as you're praying for them, you can imagine them, however they may be, but you believe that God's going to send this person. But while you're doing that, you're also preparing yourself, like, okay, I got to fix this. Let me work on my attitude. God, help me with this. So during that time of prayer, you're also asking God, like, God, cleanse me, get anything out that's not right. I think this is a very important step because, again, when this person comes and they're everything that you pray for, they got to be pleased too in this situation. And so I think us as single people, sometimes we're always the victim. And sometimes it's like, you're not going to always be the victim. You fix some things, and I think because you want to be pleasing for this person too. They want to come in and be like, because they've dealt with a lot of stuff. They don't got time to be dealing with your stuff. And people say, well, when people come together, we're supposed to help each other and build. Yeah, but you are not supposed to be building things that God was supposed to take the place of during that time of your singleness. A lot of people is coming and they want a parent, somebody to come in and just baby them. Look, if you got issues, go get help. You know what I'm saying? Go to counseling. First of all, go to the number one counselor. That's number one. But actually go to counseling. Don't be afraid of these certain things. I just think that that's a huge thing for us as singles. We just want, but it's like we don't know how to be like, man, I'm just not. What if something's wrong with me? And because we don't want to believe something's wrong with us. We believe every relationship we was in is their fault. Victim, 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 victim. And then God be like, man, like if I did bless you, you're gonna play the victim when y'all get in an argument. You're gonna play the victim with the kids. So that could be a huge thing. So I would say in your time of prayer, dig deep in yourself as you're praying for this person. Because even when you're praying for this person, the things that you're asking for, make sure you line up to that too.
That's searching your own heart as you're interceding on their behalf.
Searching in your own heart, seeing what's there. So
that's what's up.
I love it. So step one to a transformational prayer life is seeing God as Father. A lot of us have daddy issues. How do you address the daddy issue from male and female perspective when it comes to your prayer? Because like if you had daddy issues with your natural father, you're gonna have daddy issues with your spiritual father. Sure. So I know for me personally, that's one of my issues. So as a single person, how do you, after this series, I should say, how do you start looking at God as your father to help your prayer life and help you in your singleness stage?
As a man, and knowing that I am a leader, but learning to take a back seat with God sometimes, because God is always talking to us. He's always. And if I'm always thinking I know everything, it's hard for him to lead me, because then I'm like, I don't need your help. So in this situation for me, as a man, it's like I'm learning to like humble myself. And when God does speak to me, it's like, okay, even if I don't even agree, and if God is like, I want you to go this way, but I'm practicing, because I'm like, okay, I gotta know how to lead one day when I do get married. And for your own self, even before marriage, I'm thinking like, okay, I gotta really, you know what I'm saying? So I think for me, that is like a big thing. It's just learning how to take the back seat sometimes. You're not gonna always be right. That's okay, you know?
Yeah, and you were saying looking at God as, well, we look at God as our father. And I think in a sense of that, like, you know, your dad, he gives you the plan, like he tells you what to do and what not to do. Like, you know, some dads might say, don't get a man like that, he just gonna use you, or don't get a man like that because he. So once you see God as your father and you take those things that he's giving you, that he's downloaded inside of you, I feel like the next step besides just prayer is actually walking it out, like literally walking out the things that he's telling you to do. Because you could pray all day long, but you have to do something too. So like you ask, how do you handle, what was the exact, I'm sorry, go ahead. What was the exact, it was exact words that you used.
Wind the tape. Just seeing, how do you like deal with seeing God as father if you had daddy issues?
Right. So boom. So you gotta, so once you find out he's your father, then you start digging deep, you know, deep inside of you, like, okay, first you gotta acknowledge the issue. You acknowledge the issue. Okay, I have this issue. Now what can we do from there? Then God comes to you, he's like, okay, well, I need you to, I know your dad told you that you wouldn't be worth nothing, but I need you to keep your head up. So now it's for me to practice on a daily, keeping my head up. Like when I'm walking tall. I'm understanding that I'm worth it. I'm understanding that I will be something. I understand. So, like literally just addressing the issue and praying to God to show you what it is that you need to do, because he's going to talk to you. We can ignore it all we want to, but he tells us exactly what to do. He tells you, hey, if you let this daddy issue stay inside of you, it's no way that you can even be ready to be a wife. Or even as a man, you can't be ready to be a husband if you still have this daddy issue. So are you ready to let it go? Here's how we're going to let it go. So, yeah.
Excellent. So this question is specifically for Jerome.
Oh my
for the
gosh.
fellas. No, it's a fellas thing.
Cool.
So one of the steps is pour out your heart.
Okay.
I know for a lot of men, and I'm including myself in this one, it's hard for us to just lay it all out there, get as raw and emotional as possible. But can you address that step in the steps to a transformational prayer life, to pour out your soul to God? Like for a man,
I think the first step is just knowing you a man regardless. I think that's the first step. The minute you get on your knees, you shouldn't even be going in with that mindset if you're a man or not. You need to be going in like, I'm about to talk to my father, which is, you know, basically touching on the subject with the daddy issues. Like, so you got to better go in there and be like, I see him as my father. I know him as my father. And this is why I'm coming to him as a child. Instead of I'm coming to him as the big man to man, you have to come kind of like, I like to call it small. Like some women say, I like to feel small. With God, that's kind of the approach you want to have as a man. You want to feel small. God, I need you. You're who I need. And you have to come in vulnerable. You do. You have to come and be like, listen, I don't have all the answers. So when you said pour out your heart, I believe give it all to him. It's because, you know, we hold in a lot of stuff as men, and we don't want anybody to see us and think we weak. So this is the perfect person that no matter what you say to God, of course, respectfully, good things, but no matter how much you pour out your heart, God is never going to look at you less than. And that's the beautiful thing about God, because he's always there with open arms. So I feel like if for all the men who are watching this, don't let that I'm a man type attitude getting away, go to him and pour out your heart, because it's very important. And you'll be surprised the stuff that's stored inside. You just didn't have the right person to let it out to. So, and God is the number one. So that's my way for that.
Well, I want to keep going because this is really getting good. But our director is telling us we got to get ready to wrap it up. So, do you both have any brief final thoughts to share before we close it out?
I would just say, just make sure you evaluating everyone that comes into your life and evaluating your life and just seeing God as his father, and not be just so in a rush to be with somebody. Just work, do the work first, definitely, and continue to just pray and get closer to God, and he's gonna bring that desire to you. He's gonna bring that thing that you're looking for to you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. Just kind of let him do his job, because we have tried to do many things on our own and it just always never works out. It always fails. So yeah, try God.
And keep him close. Keep God close. Don't be too prideful. Go to him about anything. It is hard for us singles. Everybody around you's getting married. Things can start making you feel like you ain't good enough. These are all attacks on the mind from the devil. You got to keep in mind that, like, first of all, you don't know everybody's situation, and God didn't put everybody together. A lot of people are just picking people, but that's a whole nother subject. I ain't gonna go there.
Yeah,
but
what? That's a whole.
You will sit there
and
listen, but you will really get caught up in everybody married but me. Something's wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Yeah. And if anything, you are very strong because you were able to sit in front of married people and still remain framed. You know what I'm saying? You still can remain framed. So, and you're basically saying, God, I'd rather get what you want, so I'll wait to get that. So keep that in mind, and that's all I gotta say, man.
Wow, that was mic drop moment, but these mics, they ain't free. So we thank you for joining us here on the Fuel Station podcast as we wrap up the Steps to a Transformational Prayer Life series. If you're free and available on Saturday nights, come visit us at 115 Gold Street. This is the Fuel Station Church podcast. We are live on Saturday nights in person and on YouTube, on Zoom, on Facebook. Please check us out, Fuel Station Church. And if you can't come on Saturday night, Spirit of Truth Urban Ministries is out of the same building, 115 Gold Street. They're our host church. They're available on Sundays at 10 a.m. Get the word in your life, keep it in your heart, and you will be all right. Thank you for joining us.